Welcome, everyone, to the 30th episode of Conversations with T. This is T speaking, and it's been quite a while since I last recorded an episode. I was so caught up with uni, like one assignment after another, and yeah, I honestly can't wait to get done with. Anywho, it's great to be back, and today's guest is a personal development coach from the UAE. She helps introverted businesswomen improve their self-worth so that they can focus on their purpose and live more meaningful lives. I'm so excited to have her on my podcast as we do have several things in common, and she's none other than Coach Aisha. How have you been?
Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and share my knowledge and experience with your audience.
Thank you for joining me today. It's so great to have you here. I want to speak to you about the topic of going through hardships. Now, this is something which all of us experience, and none of us are exempt from struggling with certain things or dealing with difficult situations. But when it comes to coping, we see that people are divided into two categories. Those who become, so we have this one group of people who become stronger and wiser individuals as they keep pushing through. And then there's this other group of people who just end up spiraling and they end up giving up on themselves and in some cases their lives even.
Mm.
Before we have a discussion about why that's the case, I was actually wondering if you could share a story with the listeners and myself. Was there a certain hardship that you experienced in which you felt a lot of changes took place? And how did you overcome the challenges you came across?
Yeah, actually, thank you for asking this question because I think it's very important, to know how hardships impact us and what we can do during hardships to help ourselves to come out of this, very tough experience with changing mindset, with new perspective toward the world and toward ourselves as well. Yeah, of course, I'm like many individuals on this planet. I have gone through multiple, let's say, cases of trauma since childhood, and of course it has impacted the way I see myself, the way I believe about myself, the way I trust myself, and all of that. And as all of this impacts also our life, the
Mm,
way that we live.
mm,
I can say I had multiple trauma, so I'm thinking which one I can talk about, but I can talk about the last one, not the last one, but in 2019, because that was the hardship that really twisted my life and shifted my life substantially. And due to that, I can say trauma, I started the path of coaching.
okay.
Uh, so it was a great shift. It's a very big hardship that, I can say it shook my being. And I remember myself after the trauma sitting, on the sofa, and there were lots of like thoughts coming to my mind. Okay, what's now? I mean, what's going on now? What do you want to do? I mean, what will happen now? And I remember that sudden call from within, and majority of us hear it, but not necessarily listen to it.
Mm,
So I heard this voice that I need to do something. I have to stop attracting more trauma into my life. And so what I did, I had a little bit background about coaching. So I knew some people who are coaches, who were coaches. So I connected with them. And I did my own research as well.
mhm,
And I started, to go for training as a coach.
mhm,
And I learned a lot throughout my journey. I was a person, let me tell you that it was very difficult for me to talk about my emotions and to be vulnerable. I had this belief that, okay, past has passed and I should not look at it. I should just continue, and I should forget whatever happened in the past. And I didn't know that past impacts our present moment. So with the trauma, with the hardships, we carry lots of baggages within us. And if we didn't open up and release all of those baggages, I mean, we will have tough time in this world. So I started the coaching journey. I learned to be vulnerable, and I felt how being vulnerable is like releasing. I felt light from inside each time I kept myself vulnerable in the safest space, of course. I mean, I've been coached, I've been listened to, and so that's how my journey as a coach, as a professional coach, started.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with me. So you did mention that whilst you were dealing with that particular hardship and you got in touch with a coach, you struggled to express your emotions the way you wanted. So before that happened, would you describe yourself as someone who basically struggled with emotional management or dealing with difficult emotions?
Yeah, I was very fragile, to be honest. Even, I mean, before starting the coaching, I was very fragile. I used to get so upset, with little maybe trigger. And from the other side also, I didn't know how to feel my feelings. I wouldn't pay attention to it at all before my journey started. I can say it was the start of my healing journey. I didn't know. I didn't have any idea how to. I knew that there are ways to change my belief system, but I didn't know how to do it. When I was 18 years old, I was very interested in personal development. Very interested in personal development. I remember when I was 18, I read a book of Anthony Robbins. And that book was so, interesting for me because I was, I didn't know how to reach to that field. I didn't know what that field is. My life, my career path has taken a totally another path. And before 2019, I was like at the beginning of my career, I was in medical field.
Okay.
I was a midwife. So when I look at my career path and connect these two together, I see that there is connection. Being a midwife helps women to deliver new souls, new babies to the world. And being a coach is transforming and also helping, people to become new, let's say, beings in terms of like belief system, in terms of the perspective that they have on, and also in terms of self-awareness. So there is connection, and I have this very core belief that my life journey was in the way to prepare me for the state that I am in at the present moment.
Okay.
So yeah, so if I was in the medical field, it was not like for no reason. It was for a reason. It was for a purpose. Then after that, I became to teaching and HR and all of that. So all of them were like learning stages of my life, of course.
I see. Thank you for sharing that with us. And yeah, while it's beautiful to rediscover yourself whilst you're pushing through a hardship, it's not an easy thing to deal with, and these are times when you really need to exercise a lot of patience. What tends to happen is because these emotions, the negative emotions we feel, they're so intense and overwhelming, many people look for unhealthy ways to get rid of these feelings just so that they can feel good again. And sure, they may feel some sort of relief in the short term, but if they continue with these bad habits such as abusing drugs, self-harming, binge eating, or
Mm.
reliving past events, etc., then they're going to have to deal with more problems later on, like you mentioned, like touching upon what you mentioned previously, and their mental state would become even worse, and it would be more difficult for them to get out of this vicious cycle. And they need to understand that these solutions, in inverted commas, they're not solutions to begin with. They're just distractions, or should I say, an escape from reality. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. We don't learn how to manage or how to deal with our feelings and emotions. So basically, we deal with them in three ways. Either we numb them,
Mm,
or escape from them, or we express them in wrong way.
yeah.
So when people go to like drugs or any kind of like substances, they are escaping from very, very painful emotions.
Mm,
They don't know that if they felt those emotions, they let them go. I think a great amount of awareness is needed everywhere, so people can learn how to really manage their feelings and deal with them in proper ways.
Yeah, I can't help but think if schools and universities, and even hospitals, even if they start educating us about healthy ways to cope with our feelings and whatnot, we'd be in a we'd be doing much better, don't you think?
Yeah, of course. I think this is one of the things that children should learn in the schools. So I think the level of issues that they may face when they go through hardship, which is like inevitable thing in life, will be reduced. So they would be able to take care of themselves in those tough times, deal with their emotions in proper way, and also not be afraid of getting help,
Yeah,
proper help from outside. Yeah.
it's high time that schools, universities, and hospitals, they really started implementing educational programs for all of us so that we not only learn better coping skills, but we can also become more accepting towards ourselves, to understand ourselves better, to be compassionate with ourselves. Because if we keep like if we keep telling ourselves that we love ourselves, but we drink more, we smoke more, or etc., then we're just fooling ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. Many people, they don't differentiate between self-pity and self-love.
Yeah,
They don't think, they replace the self-love with self-pity, and that's why they are not um, able to love themselves regardless of the mistakes, of the failures, of the hardships that we go through is so important. So yes, of course, creating awareness in the schools, in the society, which I'm saying it's really improving nowadays. Like we have like communities that try to spread the word, spread the awareness about mental health. So I see there is improvement, especially after the pandemic in the world in general.
when it comes to you coaching other people, like when you help as you help them come up with solutions, you also get to teach them like better like coping strategies, or like emotional intelligence or emotional management, these sort of issues. Do you get to educate them as well, or do you just like focus on finding a solution to whatever it is that they're going through?
No, actually, I conduct workshops. I'm also a certified positive intelligence or coach. I'm not into emotional intelligence. I'm not certified by emotional intelligence, but I'm certified by positive intelligence, ICF, and CTI. So yes, in the positive intelligence, of course, we help our clients and we teach them tools and techniques to manage their stress and basically their negative thoughts. So what we do in the positive intelligence, we help the clients to build new neural pathways in their brain, to shift from negative thinking to positive thinking. If
Okay.
you like, I can explain more about the positive intelligence.
Sure. I mean, I think some people they're more aware of positive psychology, but not so much about positive intelligence. Is there a difference?
Yeah, yeah. Positive intelligence is about our capacity to go through life challenges with positive mindset. So it's about training our mind to be more resilient,
Okay.
especially when we go through the hardships. It's a very big concept, but what I can say that in positive intelligence, we say that it's a research-based study, by the way, and so we tackle the root cause of the issues that we have in life. So we say that, the brain is into two parts, left side and right side. And most of our self-sabotaging thoughts, which there are 10 types of them, are on the left side of the brain.
Really?
Whereas we have something called sage on the right side of the brain, which has 5 powers. With the help of tools and techniques that we teach the clients in the 6 to 8 weeks, we help them to build new neural pathways and start having a habit of positive thinking. But of course, it's totally, because some people ask me, is it like toxic positivity? It's totally different from, so we don't say that to be because we are human beings and going through negative emotions, griefs, it's a part of our nature and as human beings being stressed. So we don't encourage like to numb your emotions or escape from your emotions. No, we say that the root cause of our issues and challenges that we face in life is from our thoughts. So thoughts generates emotions generates results at the end of the day, an outcome. So we tackle the root cause. So for example, if you are getting angry, I mean, what kind of self-sabotaging thoughts you have? So when you are getting, and we have a special operating system that can be applied in any situation. So we say, if you are getting negative thoughts, you command yourself to stop. So when you stop, you pay attention to your physical sensation, and we have different tools for this technique. We can concentrate on our something we are seeing, or on our physical sensation, our breath, so different tools. Then after that, when you feel yourself calmer, when you feel yourself like less stressed, then after that, we say, okay, which sage power you want to use at that situation, and when you practice by this way, slowly you can, replace the anger with empathy, or replace anger with meaning and purpose in your life. So yeah, so we have our own techniques, our own tools that we teach the clients.
That's so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And
Yeah.
thank you for joining me today. It was lovely having this conversation with you. Um, I actually learned quite a lot after having this discussion with you. So thank you once again. Um, so I hope the rest of your evening goes well. And yeah, is it evening at the UAE?
Yeah, it's like around 6:30 here.
Oh, okay, okay. I hope the rest
Yeah.
of day goes well. Thank you Thank you so much once again. Thank you and take care. Bye bye.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Bye bye.